Some people think mining's dead, but not me. Today we're gonna run through the best miners to buy right now. Specifically, we're gonna be focusing on ASIC miners, which these are basically purpose-built custom computers, application-specific integrated circuit miners. These are purpose-built machines that mine cryptocurrency. You may be familiar with some of them. They basically look like a big silver box with a couple fans on it. But there are many different models from many different manufacturers that mine many different coins. We're gonna crunch the numbers. Which ones are looking like a good move? Which ones am I buying? And which ones should we probably stay away from? My name is Vosk. You're on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, but I pointed at you like you're Vosk. Your name's Vosk. I am on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. This site has some good information, but it doesn't have everything. Most notably, and prices and earnings are a bit suppressed right now. We look at Bitcoin. Over $20 million of new coins mined per day. Like, there's over $20 million per day up for grabs in this coin. That's a lot of money. You can build a lot of businesses that are just chasing basically $20 million of new coins per day. Right? Because a mission is basically mined coins. All of these coins we see here are proof of work. They have blockchains, they get moved along, and they pay these miners to secure the chain, to process the transactions, whatever. That's a simple way to talk about it. So we go down the list. We see DogeCoin at almost 1 million. DogeCoin is merge mined with Litecoin, which definitely pushes the script mining algorithm, which is those two. And again, these two are merge mined over 1 million. Ignore this coin. This is some shit coin that's popped out of nowhere with $0 in volume. This is one of the flaws of this site. You can't filter out nonsense like that sometimes. So yeah, you can chase Mooncoin if you want, but I'm gonna bet that it won't actually take you to the moon. So the point is, DogeCoin mining. A lot of money there. And I think that some people get too fixated on cryptocurrencies and they don't look at the actual emission. And just because the emission's higher doesn't mean that it's a sure bet, but there is a bigger market share. Like, building a DogeCoin mining farm is much more viable than building, say, a Nervos network mining farm where there's only $32,000 of new coins mined per day. Comparatively, there's over $1 million in that DogeCoin mining realm. There will, of course, be more competition. There's a lot of factors at play here. Nervos could, of course, moon, and then it would be very lucrative. But the point is, let's deal with the data we have at hand here and make the best decisions we can. I've talked about this in a few videos, but most notably, looks like I'm missing one. This is going to change the data. We'll refresh this, and it's back. So I've talked about this a lot. KASPA and Chia, you compare their market caps to their emission, it's very, very high. KASPA's been just bouncing off the charts in price. Chia is actually trending towards an all-time low in price. So that means there's a very high emission. There's a lot of new coins being mined on Chia, which is great from a mining operation, but from a holder operation, there is, a high rate of dilution. But before I talk all day about coins, I just kind of wanted to give you a preface here and a gist. We're also going to be looking closely at Monero because there's a new, it's not an ASIC miner, but it's basically an ASIC miner, but it has CPUs inside of it that just came out. And this video is entirely fixated on ASIC miners, but I did talk about Chia. There's the Evergreen miners. There's also the Juicy miners, which I've reviewed on the channel. I've got links down out below, along with a coupon code to save you some cash. If you are a long-term subscriber of the channel, I asked interest back in March about doing a collaborative edition, and this is a bit of a teaser. This is gonna go up in a couple of days, or if you're not watching this, basically the day it comes out, this will be up. But we are launching a collaborative edition with them that has a new power supply, a new hub, which means more compression. These are the best miners, which means they're the most profitable miners they've ever released. And again, I guess heads up, shameless plug, if you support the channel with by buying these, that's incredible. If not, no hard feelings, right? So let's go over to Bitmain. Bitmain, we recently got into contact with them. They're not very happy with us because I talked in a recent video about how my K7 miners have been a very poor mining experience. But I see why, because they just dropped a new batch of K7 miners. So we'll see how that conversation goes with them. But I'll leave it at that for now. There's the S19K Pro, there's the KS3, right? The S19J XP, the S19 XP. All these are Bitcoin miners, a Nervos Network CKB miner, and a KS3, which is a KASPA miner. They have a lot of coupon promotion things going on right now and stuff like that. So, these miners can even go all the way down to like as low as $2,000. Earlier this year, these were selling for like $8,000 a piece, $5,000 all day. So the Nervos Network hash rate has reflected these new K7s coming to market. They've been trending down pretty much along with the price. A new batch of these will continue to push this up, making these just less profitable. When we look at mining profitability of all the different miners, and we run the numbers at 10 cents per kilowatt hour, the K7 is actually one of the most profitable miners. Keep in mind though, this is the 63.5 terahash second version, which they never sell anymore. That was basically like a first batch thing. They continue to push out the 58 terahash second version. It does use a little bit less electricity, but the percentage wise, the 63.5 is basically better. X16P, it earns a lot, but it's expensive. We'll talk about that. We have not seen a new script ASIC miner, which would be a DogeCoin miner, in years now. We're all sitting here wondering, waiting, when will the L9 come out? This is absolutely in Bitmain's arsenal to release a new miner. And I don't want to sound so Bitmain focused, but basically Bitmain has really cornered the market share on ASIC miners more than they ever have. We look at the top miners. I mean, a lot of these are different models. We have the KA3, a Kadena miner, the D9, a Dash miner, the L7, all the different models, a DogeCoin, Litecoin miner, the X5, which is a Monero miner. All top in the charts. K7 up here, the KS3, which has ridiculous earnings, but goes in line with a ridiculous price point. So before I get too wrapped up in that, let's go over here, right? You can buy direct from manufacturers if you want to, but I would like to put a spotlight on Crypto Miner Bros. They've been doing a very good job fulfilling orders for us, fulfilling orders for subscribers. It's been a good experience working with them. They've supported us with some miners as well. We have an affiliate link. We have a coupon code that saves you coin. They do carry all of the Ice River miners, which are all KASPA miners. And I don't mean to talk so much about KASPA miners lately, but I mean, they are just like the talk of the town, right? But my KASPA earnings continue to plummet. I have a KS1 that I got from them, and you can see that I was mining about 1,000 coins a day, and now I'm down another 10%. I've now dropped under 900 coins per day. I've had like an experience on F2 pool. I just haven't switched. Some people say they're earning a bit more than me on other mining pools, but I mean, you're only going to earn so much more, right? Because the network hash rate continues to just balloon. You may think this is a long time, but this is just a couple months ago. The network hash rate has gone up more than 8 times in the last few months. That's crazy. We look at the last month chart, and just 1 month ago, it was at, say, 4 petahash. We are now bouncing around 17, 18, 16 petahash. That's a crazy increase in 1 month. You would be mining 25% of the coins that you were mining just 1 month ago. More people are getting their Ice River miners. More people are getting their Bitmain KS3s, which is a KASPA ASIC miner. And it's all leaning into this. So let's talk about Big Bad Orange Coin, right? We look at emission, there's the most money there, right? But there's also many publicly traded Bitcoin mining farms. Some do a little bit of other mining as well. But let's not forget, Bitcoin is where most people are fixated. The writing on the wall, though, the elephant in the room, is going to be the Bitcoin halving. 260 days away right now, less than a year. If nothing changed, then half as many Bitcoins would be mined per day, which means half as much money, which basically means most Bitcoin miners would no longer be profitable. Many mining farms would go straight into the red. And really, it puts my Bitcoin mining operation at the VoskCoin mining farm upside down. If you don't know, I've been building on my own mining farm. I've got the digital shovel, basically air-cooled mining piece. Just got an immersion tank in, so I'm going to do some immersion mining. I'm building out a hard drive mining piece of the farm with evergreen miners, Chia farmers, and Juicy. So I have all that going on. And then the end game is to deploy solar and power my farm and sell electricity back as electricity prices continue to just be ridiculous. Brains has some good insights here. You can see a lot of different data at a glance, right? We see price, hash rate, difficulty, and how all these are coming into play over the last year. So we look at daily mining revenue, and we see that we've pretty much been over $20 million in coins mined every day on average for the whole year. That's a good baseline. We've seen, a very consistent push towards like the 30 million mark. Now let's look at the actual miners, and this is at 6 cents. So let's bump that up to 10 cents. At 10 cents per kilowatt hour, which would be, I would say, a good residential electricity rate. Not great, but good. Only the Antminer S19 XP is profitable, where you would pull over $1 a day. In the S19 Pro, S19J Pro, What's Miner M30S, S19, What's Miner M30S, not the non-plus version, T19, whatever, all these other ones, they're losing between $1 and even basically $3 a day. If you start to lose a lot more than you mine, you would be better off just buying that much Bitcoin per day. The benefit of mining is earning more coin than you could buy with the same money. You have to buy the miner, right? You need to pay it off. Basically, the goal is you break even and you pay the electricity bill the whole way, and then it's just, straight cash profit after that. That's the goal. That's the dream. That's where mining makes sense, other than running it as a business operation. And let's talk about the second elephant in the room, and that's going to be the Antminer S21. It's a new generation of Bitcoin mining, or Bitcoin miners coming next year, and this will change the Bitcoin mining game. I mean, this is insane density. This is insane efficiency. And they're going to try to put these at a price point that people just buy a ton of them. And you basically have to turn over your farm from S19s to move to S21s to have a viable Bitcoin mining operation. It's an interesting, scared, weird, turbulent, transient time in cryptocurrency mining. But let's also remember, as we look at all these numbers, I consider us still basically in a bear market. Technically, we're not, but look, times are not good. Let's just call it a bear. It is what it is, right? So let's talk about the Monero miner. This is still very new. It's very fresh. I was surprised. This thing came in at $3,000. Crypto Miner Bro is actually selling it cheaper than you could buy it direct from Bitmain, which is cool. It says sold out. Check back, going in and out of stock. I think this is one of the most interesting and viable miners due to the chip setup that they use. It should not be able to be forked off the algorithm. This is basically, it looks like an ASIC miner, but it's basically just a bunch of CPUs. And looking at the community when we did our deeper research, they don't seem to care, bottom line. Pretty low power consumption at 1,350 watts. I've been talking a lot in this video, but I haven't talked a lot about just like, what's a good player? What's a good option? I mean, I'm very interested in these XMR miners. I've always wanted to build out a CPU mining division to the farm, and this provides just like a very easy, clear-cut way to do it. And this calls itself an XMR miner, but Bitmain has already said that this supports multiple mining algorithms, due to the chipset. So I'm interested to see, especially if there's aftermarket firmware support, that these could basically mine anything that's CPU mineable. And there's numerous CPU mineable coins that I would be interested in mining. So basically, I'm very interested in this, and I'm happy to see it come in at a realistic price point. I hope the Bitmain doesn't dump a freaking million on the network. And let's look at the network hash rate, because some people said that these came out a long time ago. Technically, we look at all time, and you can see some of these timestamps would be like when they forked and tried to get ASICs off their network before or whatever. But I mean, how are there not either ASIC miners, which again, they're not technically ASIC miners, or a bunch of FPGA miners? I mean, like what's going on here? This is a ton of hash rate. Like, this is huge growth. This is so much, considering this is a cryptocurrency, Monero, that did not even hit an all-time high in the 2021 cryptocurrency bull run, unlike almost every other coin. Something doesn't add up, but either way, I'm intrigued, and the numbers line up that I want to get in the game. When you're looking at this chart, you'll notice that there's a couple jazz miners that stand out. And when we look at the jazz miners, we see the X16P, right, and very expensive, but very profitable. Also very large, which is going to be very annoying to deploy. I really don't like that design at all. But either way, if you just, let's ignore the price for a second. You buy something and it mines a major cryptocurrency, right? Ethereum Classic has a high emission rate. It's very saturated because a lot of just leftover, ditched, broken-hearted Ethereum miners are mining Ethereum Classic, with a $2 billion market cap and over $250,000 in new coins mined per day. And when we run the numbers, we see the X16P after the electricity bill of 10 cents, putting $5 in your pocket. We see the X16Q putting almost $2 in your pocket, which means like this miner in particular is earning almost $10 a day. I just want to remind everyone, like, these market conditions are not great. So we run the numbers and it's like, okay, you'll basically get $2,000 over the next year. You compare that with the price point and it just doesn't become that interesting. But when you think about the efficiency that's at play here, the density, someone with deep pockets that believed in Ethereum Classic or, just believes enough in it to deploy an ETC mining operation, this actually could be an interesting play. I mean, Ethereum Classic is here to stay, I guess, whether we like it or not, or whatever. But that's also why, on a very capital heavy front, that could be interesting. But the X16Q is a lot more viable to a lot more people. It's smaller, it's quieter, it's much cheaper, it's not as powerful, so there's not as much density. It's not as profitable, but the efficiency's there. We have one, we reviewed it. I mean, it's a great at-home miner. It really is. It's expensive though. I mean, that's really the downside. Like, you're spending a lot versus what you're earning. We look at that price point, it's over $3,000. And after the electricity bill of 10 cents, I mean, you're earning $640. This is a miner you're buying and basically banking on a bull run because let's talk about something really critical that I think a lot of people don't understand or overlook. We are in bad market conditions, so a lot of mining revenue is just not that great. When, hopefully, we enter a real bull market, things are crazy, things are very profitable, miners will be very profitable if they're still viable models, right? They're not outclassed by newer, much more efficient versions. They will be much more expensive. So if you basically build a mining farm when things look bleak, which is basically what I'm doing, and then I'm hoping that things will be great, hopefully sooner than later, I'll be into my mining farm very cheap. My gear will, rise hopefully astronomically in value. I could take profit on some of the gear if I want to, but really my personal plan is just to be into my farm cheap, let it run, make a killing, and just hopefully live happily ever after, right? So, the KASPA mining, let's talk about that next. These jazz miners for Ethereum Classic, they're very good, but they're very expensive. That's really just the takeaway. The XMR miner, I'm very interested in that personally. Historically, first batch miners have done well on average, right? Then enter the KASPA miner. I mean, it's very hot. It's very interesting. Like some people going big on it. And sometimes I wonder in mining, like how much still leftover bull run belief is there in crypto that continues to inflate mining? I mean, the miners are like the die-hard community. I mean, like we're the nerds that stick here and do this month over month, year over year. We're not the, moon boy who's here today, wants to be rich tomorrow, and then cries and quits, and then comes back for the next bull run and tries too late again. It creates like a very unique level of competition in mining. But a lot of people are betting big on KASPA. And I think, looking at everything, I hope it's got a bright future, right? It's definitely something I want to have some mining presence in my mining farm. But I think it's so hyped and it's so inflated, and people don't understand the emission schedule. Like, KASPA will basically have the amount of coins that they're mining, that are mined every day over the next year. You ask the average KASPA miner that, they don't know that. So they're buying based on that not happening because they're just assuming things will be relatively the same. And that's leading to just inflated buys. Miner manufacturers make it a killing, and it will lead to just a lower ROI, which I tried to break down in a recent video, to the mining operation. So as much as I want to be deeper in that game, I don't think it makes sense. But a lot of other people do. I'm not always right. I just try to be. Obviously, Bitcoin mining is always fun, interesting, and stuff like that. But Bitcoin mining is about to be more cutthroat and more risky than really it's ever been. If you buy a Bitcoin miner right now, you're most likely not going to break even on it before the halving. And then your operations daily profits will be cut in half, or really, like the amount of coins you're mining. It's scary. I'm really at a point where I'm like kind of hitting the brakes with Bitcoin mining expansion, other than like the S19 XBs, due to their high efficiency. I think they'll be good. They'll be viable no matter what. They'll be the new S19. It's like, you just kind of keep moving along in all these different generations. So, and I don't know, I'm addicted to mining, so I'm just going to keep doing it anyway to some form, fashion, capacity. But I cannot speak with any more like seriousness that Bitcoin mining right now, like building a Bitcoin mining farm right now is one of the riskiest times I think I've ever seen it. Because there's a lot of big players, there's a lot of big money. I mean, like BlackRock is buying into all the publicly traded and has bought and is buying more, to my understanding, in all like the big, not all, some of the major publicly traded Bitcoin mining farms. Viability long-term, great, but like those guys have very competitive, some of them, rates, operations, their cost to mine a Bitcoin. Well, one, it's much lower than mine, other small scale miners, but the point is big money's moving in. So people like cheer about that, but there's a lot of cons to it. So there's that whole situation. The next thing I wanted to talk about before we close out this video, because I definitely brought it up a lot in the beginning, it's going to be DogeCoin, Litecoin, script mining. I'm a big fan of that, but I think we just have the L9 on the horizon. I think like the next miner model we're going to see dropped from Bitmain and maybe a competitor or two, probably not, would be a new script miner, and it's just going to be better. It's going to be more efficient. It's going to probably be worth it, more long-term viability. So I really want to expand my script mining operation. I don't think Doge is moving to proof of stake at all, and I think their coin is doomed and dead if they do, because you might as well just use the Shiba Inu SHIB fork at that point. I really want to expand that front, but I'm kind of just sitting here in stasis, waiting for that new model. And finally, a miner that not many people know about, especially with the scrutiny from the SEC and things like that, the Dash miner. And there's not a lot of money mined per day on the Dash miner, the D9. But it's been very profitable in particular to use the D9 on NiceHash. If you look at the mining profitability calculators, there's been many days I am earning 2-3 times that due to their hash rate marketplace. It's not a NiceHash shill or plug or whatever. It's, I don't know, it's just facts. It's the market, working in its ways, to put it simply, right? And finally, the K7. That miner, the actual performance of it has been junk, but I've gotten it stabilized in some weird way recently. I have 3 of them. One is down, one hashboard just decided to off itself, I guess. And I reached out to Bitmain for support on this stuff, and they didn't give me support, and that's part of why I got talked about that in another video, and they're mad at me. But I'm like, dude, like, I mean, that's like the frustrating thing, and like, be cautious, right? You buy these miners and like you may get a dud. You may get one that doesn't work right or whatever, and it's just not a good experience with customer service, warranty work, anything like that. And sometimes this is so go fast paced. Like if you get it like one of the KASPA miners and it's down the first month, I mean, you're literally losing several thousands of dollars in like the most critical mining period to decrease your break-even period, to increase the ROI, return on investment. I mean, mining's intense. And I think that's all I got today. I lied. The KA3, Kadena's just been in shambles lately. I was very excited to get the KA3, but Kadena is trading at such a low price point. It's just not really returning that much. But it still earns more than it burns. And that's the last thing I want to say is 10 seconds of tails. They run at the same time. Beautiful pup. Lord and Commander here at the VoskCoin YouTube channel. But, viability, right? Earning more than it burns. As long as miners earn more than they burn and there's not some huge network event on the way that will crush the operation, for example, the Bitcoin halving. I mean, if I'm earning more than I'm burning and we're at these such low price points, I'm like cool to buy miners and expand the operation. And keep growing and basically just hope and double down and buckle up for better days. But that's my strategy. You do whatever you want to do. As always, do your own research. And as a reminder, I don't care what you buy whatever you want. This video is for just, fun, informative purposes to share my experiences and 2 cents. And at the end of the day, take my research, do your own, and make your own decisions. But I will advise you to join the VoskCoin Discord server and the VoskCoin Talk forum. VoskCoin, which is so much bigger than me, we got the best community in the world, especially on the mining front. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
What?